Alrighty, so it's time to finally do the most anticipated season preview that I'm pretty sure a lot of you have been looking forward to me talk about, and that, of course, is all about Inter Miami in the season preview. Now, there's no doubt that of all MLS team that is heading into this season that has the most pressure of winning the MLS Cup and really has the expectation of MLS Cup or bust heading into this year, it's got to be Inter Miami. I mean, this is really it. They are pretty much going all in this year when it comes to trying to finally win MLS Cup and even other trophy as well. Because as much as we talk about them winning MLS Cup is a bare minimum almost. They want to also compete in other competition like the CONCACAF Champions Cup, like the Leagues Cup, and even the Club World Cup. With them being one of two teams, along with the Sounders or the other MLS team, to be involved in that competition. But that being said, though, with all the pressure that is being put on them, will they achieve that? And especially if they don't achieve that, then not only it's a massive failure, but there's definitely a lot of concern heading into next offseason once Messi and Friends does eventually leave this team. That what is the state is this team going to be considered? They have definitely really put a lot of gamble and almost putting all eggs in this one basket in terms of this season. And if it doesn't turn out, it could be a bleak future for this team after Messi and Friends leave the town. Being said, last season they finished first with a 22-8-4 record and finished with 74 points, which is the most point any MLS team has ever got in a season. But that's pretty much all forgotten because, yeah, after that they lose to Atlanta United in the first round in what probably is going to go down as the biggest upset we have ever seen in MLS playoff history. And when looking at the last playoff appearance, of course they made the playoffs last year, but it's hard to believe of all the big talk that this team has had, this team have never won a playoff series. We saw them make the playoffs last year. We also saw them make the playoffs a couple of years under Phil Neville in sixth place, but they lost to NYCFC. And then if you count as the play-in round as them making a playoff appearance, they also lost that first playoff game against Nashville SC. So it's hard to believe with all the big names on this team have not won a playoff series. Now, albeit this team only founded in 2020 and they're only in the league for the past couple of years. But you would expect of all the big names that is out there, they would finally win a playoff series. But yeah, that's still to this day they is not the case with them never winning a playoff series. Now their head coach, of course, is Javier Mascherano. He was hired a couple of months ago, and this is definitely an interesting hiring. I mean, I get the whole Messi and Friends kind of situation and how Messi is pretty much acting almost like a GM of this team. He's bringing all his old friends, even in the head coaching role, and even in the sporting director role as well. I mean, the new sporting director for Inter Miami is not Chris Henderson after he moved on to Atlanta United, and instead they decided to bring in Guillermo Hoyos, who is dubbed as the godfather of Lionel Messi. So yeah, again, it's almost like Messi is basically being a GM of this team. He pretty much owns this team in terms of making the decision of the head coach and even the sporting director. And when you have a player with that much power, I mean, I haven't seen a player that has that much power. Probably, if in other comparison in other sports, probably similar to what Aaron Rodgers did with the Jets and also what LeBron James did to the Lakers. This is basically what it is now with Inter Miami, and for good or bad, that of course will be determined at least this season and even in the future as well. Now, when it comes to some of the signings that they have done, so when it comes to them going all in, they know that they're gonna have to make some signings to go on this all in push. And one of the signings that they got is Fafa Pico off of free agency. Somebody tells me, not only Fafa Pico want to go back to the East Coast, but he's probably maybe rain chased a little bit. Saw this project that is in Inter Miami, and he really wanted to join in. So yeah, he got his wish of joining this party. Follow that by Tadio Alanda that they of course got him from loan from Celta Vigo. Then they also re-signed the backup goalkeeper of Oscar Ustavi. He's most likely going to be the backup goalkeeper of this team because they decided to move on from their other backup goalkeeper of CJ Dos Santos, who's now going to the expansion team San Diego FC. They also got Gonzalo Layun transfer from San Lorenzo and one of the defender for this team. Obviously, the defense is definitely the biggest priority for this Inter Miami team. That was the biggest Achilles heel last season. They're definitely trying to rectify that heading into this season. Then they also got Rios Novos, which actually, I talk about Oscar Ustavi maybe to be the backup goalkeeper. Maybe the true backup goalkeeper is actually Rocco Rios Novos. He did made a couple of appearances, or actually, he didn't make a couple of appearances, but he did. I did remember he started that game against Club America. I'm not sure exactly who was the starting goalkeeper in that game against what was that team from Peru? I think it's like University Delio that is. But either way, it should be very interesting to see who gets the backup role on that team, because we all know that the starting goalkeeper of this team is still going to be Drake Calendar. They also got to Telesco Seguiver from Casapia, and then most recently they got Maxi Falcon from Colo Colo, another defender that they're bringing into this team to hope to really solidify this back line heading into the season. Now, players are no longer on this team, so they move on from one of their defenders that they signed last season in Nicholas Ferre. Yeah, that was a very disappointing signing. I mean, they thought that was kind of maybe be the move to solidify the defense, but yeah, he spent more time on the IR than actually being healthy, and he wasn't actually even that good when he was healthy. So yeah, no surprise they decided not to renew his loan. They also have a couple of players with their option decline, starting with Jenkins, Sergey Christoph, Franco Negri, who's actually now with San Diego FC. Mateus Rojas, who this was a big one. They were thinking whether or not if they were going to renew his option, considering he played some key role to this Inter Miami team last season as well, but they decided not to do so. Lawson Sunderland also have his option decline, followed by Felipe Valencia, and then we get two players that, of course, transferred to another club. Starting with a big one, Diego Gomez. We knew this was going to happen. Like he was probably the biggest prospect in terms of that Inter Miami team. And while everybody focus on Messi and friends with this Inter Miami team, this team has done a good job in terms of developing young talent as well. And Diego Gomez is one of those player, and it's no surprise that he's got a big money move to Brighton as a result. They also transfer CJ Dos Santos to San Diego FC, and then they also traded Leonardo Campana to the New England Revolution. This was kind of an interesting one, considering that, yeah, Campana, even in the limited minutes that he's got, yeah, he showed his worth as well, and that now it's going to be interesting to see whether they're going to find a replacement for that, because I know that they have their main number nine in Luis Suarez, but they're a little bit short in terms of that nine spot after they decided to move on from Leonardo upon them. They also transfer Emerson Rodriguez to Ludogorets, and then finally, just recently, they sent Facundo Farias to Estudiantes, and Falcofer is another unfortunate soul for this Inter Miami team, where when he came to this team, he looked like he was supposed to be the guy that replaced Messi once Messi does move on, but injuries really hamper his time. I'm kind of surprised they did not give him another chance, considering he just came back from a torn ACL. I would assume that he would play a bit of a role to this team, especially with them moving on from Diego Gomez. I thought he was gonna play in that spot, even it's not a like kind of replacement, but still, yeah, they decided that they're gonna just move on from him and take the cash that they can get, and they're probably thinking that he's probably not going to be the same player after he torn his ACL, which that could be the case. I mean, when you torn an ACL, it's hard to recover. Even for young guys, when you come back from a torn ACL, you're probably not going to be the same player more times or not. And for a team that has just so much aspiration of competing for a trophy as well, they're not going to take the risk in terms of getting a guy that they hope that they can get themselves back to where they're at the best, but it's absolutely not a guarantee after suffering a lengthy injury like Facu Torres had suffered last season. Now, look at the first 5 games for this Inter Miami team. So they, of course, start the season by playing against NYCFC. And I also haven't mentioned when I talk about the first 5 games, this does not include the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And we know this team is going to be involving a lot of competition. And something tells me this team probably is going to have a lot of weeks where they're going to be playing 3 games in 7 days as well. But at least in the first 5 games, this is only league games that I included in the season review, and of course their first game in league play is against NYCFC. That's actually the first game of the season as well. Pretty similar to last season where Inter Miami kicked off the season. Although this year it's going to be at least a little different where they don't have a standalone time to kick off the start of the season. At least they're going to be part of that busy Saturday action. But they're the first team to play at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. Then you got them going to Houston, playing against the Dynamo on the road, and of course the Dynamo, one of the lucky team to receive the Messi and Friends sweepstake win out of the Western Conference team and able to host Miami in the Western Conference. Then they play against Charlotte after that before going on the road to play against Atlanta United in that rematch of that infamous first round matchup that caused the biggest upset we have ever seen in MLS history. And then after that, they play against the Philadelphia Union at home. There's a bit of a gap between this game. That's probably the biggest gap that they're gonna have in terms of breaks. I think between that time, there's like an international break in between, so that's why Inter Miami is not playing during those weeks. But look at the last 5 games. They first play against DC United at home before going on the road to play against NYCFC. Then they go on the road to play against Toronto FC before returning home to play against New England, and then go on the road to finish off the season on decision day against Nashville SC. So not a bad kind of run into the playoffs, but obviously, this team is not about playoffs. We know this team is going to be one of the top team in the Eastern Conference. In fact, the regular season really doesn't matter for this team. It's all about what happened once they make it to the playoffs and also these cup competition that they're going to be in. Now, looking at the strength of this team, I mean, it's the midfield and the attack. I want to say it's the starting 11, but again, this is where I talk about as I'll talk about one of the weakness. I still have question when it comes to the defense, but yeah, I mean it's pretty obvious that their midfield and attack is the strength of this team. I mean this team can put goals just like that with Messi and Friends, and even some of the supporting cast on this team. The weakness, obviously, again, it's the reshaped defense. I still have question about that. I mean, yes, I know they definitely addressed that by bringing some of these new signing, but can they get things going straight off the bat? And especially when you have a team that has high expectation, you are expecting those signings to hit right off the bat. You don't want those signings to kind of sputter in the beginning. And I think the other weakness I will say, besides the reshaped defense, it's got to be the coaching too. Again, the hiring of Javier Mascherano, that was a very questionable hiring, considering if if I asked you that, no, going from Tata Martino and Javier Mascherano, is that considered an upgrade or downgrade to all Inter Miami fans? I'm pretty sure most Inter Miami fans, at least the hardcore one that knows this team a lot and been supporting this team since day one, they're probably a little bit skeptical or a little bit disappointed the fact that they went from Tata Martino to Javier Mascherano. Don't get me wrong, Tata Martino, he really at times makes some questionable decision during his time with Inter Miami, and kind of was one of the reason why he didn't really live up to the expectation that this team has set. But do you think bring Javier Mascherano, a guy that doesn't really have any experience coaching in the senior level, and also the only coaching experience he has was with the Argentine Olympic team, and that team kind of underachieved in the Olympic as well. So there's a lot of question in terms of that. But I say that, look what we saw with other head coaches that being hired that aren't considered to be popular hiring, and then they turns out to do relatively well as well. Maybe that kind of might be the case for Javier Mascherano. And really, when you look at this team, if he at least just be competent and let the team does, and let Messi see it and friends do their thing, then yeah, there's no doubt that there's really not too much coaching and too much messing around to get this team to be one of the better team, not only in the East but in MLS in general. Now, the three big question coming into this team, again, the reshaped back line, will it be decent enough? I'm not gonna say championship caliber. Originally, I was actually gonna wrote championship caliber because if you want to win multiple trophy, you not only want to have a good attack, but you also want to have a good defense of not conceding these goals like they did last season that was ultimately led to their demise. But if it's decent enough, and even if it's I wouldn't say like mediocre, but just a little bit above mediocre, there's a chance that they can still win trophy because of the attack and makes up a lot. And at least what we saw this season, or last season with the LA Galaxy, and really for the last two seasons with the Galaxy and Columbus, those two teams, their defense weren't really considered to be championship caliber or lockdown defense, but their defense was decent enough where in the end the attack really mitigates a lot of the issues that their defense might have sometimes. That's going to be something that I think Inter Miami is looking to replicate. Of they just have strong enough of an attack where they don't even have to worry about their defense might not be being as one of the best in the league. Will Javier Mascherano be smart about rotation the squad and knowing they're going to play the most game out of anyone? So I think this is probably the biggest thing he'll need to worry about. I mean, in terms of tactics wise, he's going to have to worry about that as well, and also substitution pattern as well. That's kind of another thing that really frustrates Inter Miami fans, especially with Tata Martino's substitution pattern being very strange at time. But I think the other thing that Tata Martino didn't do a good job, at least when Messi arrived to this team, is that he did not do a good job in terms of rotating the squad. And yes, I know that obviously with this team, when you have the greatest player of all time, and especially when you're playing on the road, you expect to put your best player out there to showcase to the fans that pay a lot of money to watch the greatest player of all time play there. But sometimes, even with the pressure of that shouldn't be enough to work to think about the ultimate goal of this team. I mean, yes, they want to put a good show to the fans, whether it's a home game or if they're going on the road, that is. But the ultimate thing about this season is not about showcasing the fans of how good they are. Their ultimate goal is winning trophies, and to do that, they need to rotate the squad. Like, there's no way in the world they're gonna put Messi in every single game this season, and expect he will last. I mean, this is probably gonna be his last year with Inter Miami, and he's not getting any younger because of it, and that they just got to rotate the squad, whether they like it or not, and whether if they play an away game and the fans pay a lot of money to watch this team play. Which, by the way, for all those people that of course want to watch Messi play, when they of course host Inter Miami, one thing I'll just say is don't always expect that he's gonna always show up. I mean, I know when you pay a lot of money, you expect it to show up, and if not, you're gonna be very disappointed about that. But that's just kind of how this game is, and how in every sports you're gonna see coaches gonna be smart when it comes to rotating the roster. It's not up to their job in terms of always putting the best player just because they want to give the fans that pay a hefty amount of money to see them play. It's all about the ultimate goal of winning trophy, and that's going to be something that I think Javier Mascherano's got to realize, because you simply cannot put Messi every single game, especially with the way that, like I said, they're going to be playing a lot of free games in 7 days throughout the season, with just so many competition that they're going to be in heading into this season. And then lastly, this is one that I haven't heard a lot of question about, but it's got to be the number nine in that spot where I know Luis Suarez is the main number nine, but you just kind of sense that they need like a backup number nine. I mean, Luis Suarez is another guy that I don't think he's going to play every single game. I mean, last season it was a miracle the fact that he played as much games as he did, with him playing with just one leg. And I think this season it's going to be almost the same thing, that they're going to really hope that it's going to be miraculous that Luis Suarez can still play at his high level, even though he's nowhere near as he was during his prime of his career. But to mitigate that, they need a backup number nine. And again, for a long time, Leonardo Campana was that number nine to mitigate that issue, but he's no longer on this team. So they're gonna need to look for a TAM level number nine, and especially with the way that they already maxed out on a lot of their roster. And I know the fans are going to be very mad about this team if they do make another signings, especially an international signing. It feels like this team has unlimited international spot with the amount of foreign players that they brought to this team. But it doesn't hurt for them to bring a TAM level number nine, that is. And there even within the league, there's still some good TAM level number nine that is there. An example of that, why not bring Kai Kamara to Inter Miami? I mean, he can still be a good backup option as well. Well, so we'll see whether or not if that is going to be the case, and whether or not they're going to look for that. And then, of course, the expectation of this team. I mean, I don't really need to say what the expectation of this team. You know, this team is MLS Cup or bust. You know, this team. Their expectation is at least win multiple trophy, because anything for that, it's going to be considered an absolute failure heading to the end of what could be the last season, where we might see Messi and Friend and this Inter Miami team maybe going to be competing as the top tier team in the Eastern Conference. Because after next season, once the showcase is over, and once Messi and his friends leave town, again, that's where I think next offseason there, that's where the big question is going to have to ask of, well, what are they gonna do now with the post Messi era? Is it gonna be still be a competitive team, or the fact that they're gonna go back to where they were when they came into the league, which is a team that was very inconsistent, kind of a mess at time as well, and also being a bottom feeder at time as well. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the season preview, and if you're an Inter Miami fan, or even a fair weather fan, that is. What do you think is the strength, the weakness, and the free big question and the expectation is for this team heading into this season? But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.